Hello and welcome. It has been a few weeks. I've actually gone through some really challenging weeks and was not able to record. Life was extremely challenging, so I figured I'd catch you up. I think it's probably been about 3 weeks ago. I don't know when the last recording, but I was preparing to go. I had had my ketamine infusion. The day after my ketamine infusion, I was supposed to go up to my friend Gina's house to house sit, and I was so fatigued and emotional. And I called the clinic and I'm like, what is happening to me? Why am I crying? And why am I emotional? And why am I exhausted? And they're like, oh, this is normal. Just go with it, relax, just take it easy. And your ketamine goes in and works on your neurotransmitters and your emotions, and it's very common. No big deal. Well, then the day after that, I came down with my grandchildren's summer cold. And I ended up driving up to Gina's anyway. I didn't feel awful, but I was definitely sick, had cold and stuff. And so I went up to Gina's, and they had already embarked out on their trip. They were already gone. I met with Pam, Gina's mom. She showed me the ropes, how to feed the dogs, where the keys were, all the business. And I I was able to go on the Torah portion call for our group and host my evening call for the Bible reading. And on Thursday and Friday, I wasn't so awful either. I went and did my shopping for Sabbath. I was my prep day, so I went out and went shopping for Sabbath. I went to Trader Joe's, and um, the only responsibility I had was to make sure that the house didn't burn down and that I fed the dogs at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. And let me tell you, those dogs know how to tell time because, like, right before 5, they came up to me and were like, "Yep, we're ready. You can feed us now." Um, and then Rusty, he drove up on Shabbat and he spent Sabbath with me. So we had Sabbath together. And then on Sunday, we went and had breakfast with my sister, her husband, and then went back to her house. And then my nephew, his wife, and Delilah, their 2-year old, came over to visit. And sadly, at that point, I developed a fever and I felt horrible. And I felt horrible for exposing it to them. I didn't have any idea until the day was half on that I was going to have a fever. And so, we had dinner and then we went back to Gina's, and Rusty and I, we had Sunday together, and Monday we had half the day, and then he got prepared and he left and I was down. That's why I didn't get any recordings done. I didn't record my Bible study. I was down. I was sick. I was exhausted. My body ached. It was awful. But thankfully, I had nothing to do but get up and feed the dogs at 5 o'clock. And the rest of the time I could lay there and I watched movies and I watched teachings and I did all the things. Um, then I was actually there for 11 days. I had all kinds of plans. I wanted to go visit, my friend in Nevada. That didn't happen. I wanted to go visit my friend in Yuba City. That didn't happen and I did get a chance to visit with my friend Shell, but it was brief because she came down. One, she came down because she was working, and then two, sadly, she came down because her dad was sent to a hospital that was right around the corner from Gina's house. So we got a brief, and she had brought some goodies she'd been collecting for the grandbabies and for Rusty and I. And so she had the most beautiful acacia wood um, cutting boards made for Lacey and I. Lacey got a big one, I got a little one. And I had been looking for the perfect cutting board. I have several cutting boards. Some are too thin and warped, some are too big and heavy. It was kind of like Goldilocks, some were too big, some were too small. This one is just right. And it's made of acacia wood, which is what the Ark of the Covenant is made out of. But it's layered in gold. But it is lovely. It has the ridge to catch the juice when I cut watermelon or meat. And it came with beeswax to season it, to keep it nice. It was wonderful. And then I ended up leaving it at Gina's, and she sent it to me. So I have it now. and I've been using it. I cut up my watermelon and everything on it and my meat yesterday. And I'm going to be doing meal prep this afternoon. So I'll be using it. It is just perfect. Thank you, Shell. Um, I came home a week ago today, last Sunday. I drove home still feeling pretty puny. Um, and then Monday, and through this time, the ketamine is supposed to go up in the neurotransmitters. And so I was, journaling everything so that I can, talk to the doctors about it. I was pain free. I was not having to use pain medication. I was pain free. Except for a little, my elbow or my shoulder pops out. Yeah, a little bit of pain, but not like anywhere from 5 to 10 scale pain. And this has been driving me crazy all day. It just go away. There, there. So I Monday, the pain started coming back, and I was like, oh no, it's only been 2 weeks. What's up with that? Tuesday, that was it. Monday night, I was awake all night in pain, and I couldn't get ahead of it. And I started back on my pain medication, and and by Tuesday evening, I took I took a lot of pain medication all day, and nothing was touching it. I was in horrific agony, and I almost had Rusty take me to the hospital. And for those of you that know me well, I don't do hospitals. I was held captive for 2 weeks in a hospital in 2017, and I have serious PTSD, and I hate hospitals. And so it takes a lot for me to even consider going. But I was at that place, and I literally cried out. Was laying there and just crying out to the Father, what am I missing? What is going on? What is this? What's happening? Why is I am in so much pain? And I ended up falling into a really deep depression on Tuesday. I couldn't stop crying. I was like seriously depressed, and I called the clinic where I got the infusion done, and I'm like, what's going on? And or no, then they referred me back to Kaiser to the pain clinic, and they were like, oh, you need to talk to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And I'm like, this is not mental. This is not my mind. And she goes, well, have you been through some events recently? And I'm like, well, yeah, my dad moved in with me and then he died and then blah, 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 all the things. But I said, but I know this is not mental or emotional. This is physical. There's my chemistry is jacked up, and I was afraid, and I was dealing with fear. And then actually it was interesting because of the fatigue. I had such a severe fatigue with the pain. It sent me back to like 8, 9 years ago when I was bedridden and was so fatigued I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't shower. I mean, I remember one time back then when I was home alone and I took a shower, and I couldn't after my shower, I couldn't get to my bedroom by walking. I literally crawled on the floor and couldn't get up on my bed because I had no strength in my muscles. I was fatigued to the point of no strength. So I ended up dealing with, being confronted with some fear. So what they're saying is, that the neural pathways opened up and released some past trauma, and that's normal. And I could see where because that was very traumatic, being bedridden, and I went to a place of fear instead of faith, and like, oh my gosh, am I going to be bedridden again? Am I going to be an invalid again? I have to start using my walker again? Am I, no, 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 I can't go back to that place. And, even my daughter, she's like, Mom, you can't operate from a place of fear. And my girlfriends from my Bible study, they are my right and left hand. They are my Aaron and my her. And the ladies in my Bible study, they help hold me up and I'm their Aaron and her when they're going through times. And they're like, just trust him, seek him, lean on him. And so I did. I was crying out, Father, what is going on? And and maybe it was dealing with past trauma. I don't know. And like my daughter said, Mom, you're grieving. Your dad died. And I'm like, but I didn't even really know him. But I know I'm grieving for the fact that I'll never have an opportunity to really know my daddy, a daddy, because I never really had a daddy. And, so yeah, there's some grief there, but it was chemical. And I realized the next day, because I finally, by the evening time, got ahead of the pain instead of the the pain being ahead and trying to catch the pain. I finally, and those of you that have had um, pain issues, you know what I'm talking about is, if the pain gets ahead of you, it's really hard to catch it and get over it. And by Tuesday evening, I finally was able to get ahead of the pain and it went away. And also one of the things the ketamine caused was insomnia. So I had not gotten a really good night's sleep for a couple of weeks after the ketamine, for 2 weeks after the ketamine treatment. But that Tuesday night, I slept and I slept sound and I slept good. And I woke up Wednesday in no pain. Or maybe, you know what? I think I'm wrong. It was Wednesday, I was in pain Wednesday night. And then Thursday, no, Thursday, the pain was less. That's right. The pain was less, but I still had a headache on Thursday. But it was, instead of a 10, it was like a 7. And I really didn't know if I would be able to host the my Bible study call on Thursday evening. And the Father made a way, and I was able to host the Bible study call. And just being with my sisters, we always talk about our calls, it's light recharging light. And it just built everything up. And by Thursday evening, the pain was gone. Friday, I was able to go to town. I actually had some doctor's appointments and some appointments to take care of some of my dad's things. And then yesterday I had a fabulous Shabbat with Russ. And here we are today. And the pain's under control. I am having to take the opioids, the pain medication, but the pain's under control. It is not out of control, and I'm not writhing and wanting to go to the doctor. So praise the Most High. He is good. I am seeking him on what I'm supposed to be learning from this season, from this time in pain. And like I said, I have everything documented. I have an appointment, I think next week. I think it's next week. I think it's Tuesday, actually. Let me see what day. Tuesday. Oh no, that's that appointment. I got a woman's appointment. And so maybe it's the following week. Um, no, acupuncture. I have acupuncture the following week for pain. And so at some point I have a phone appointment. Oh, maybe I didn't even I have a phone appointment with my pain doctor to go over all the details of the ketamine infusion. I've made a decision that I will not take another infusion until after I return from Israel because I cannot let what happened to me this last time with the fatigue and the emotional and the pain returning out of the blue, unknown and all that. No, I can't. So I will reschedule because I'm supposed to have 3 introductory treatments to see how it works with me. And they say it's very common for the pain to come back within a couple of weeks. They give you a low dose the first time and see how it works. And so I was pain free for 2 weeks, and then they'll give me a higher dose the next time. But I'd rather go over to Israel using my pain medication, knowing how it all works, than the unknown and crashing and not being able to go to Israel. So I am heading out I have it on my phone, 28 days, I think it is. Come on. 27 days. 27 days is when I travel over to my mom's. I'll spend the night. My dad will take me to the airport the next day. I fly to New York. I spend the night in New York. And then the next morning, I fly out to Israel with three of my friends from Bible study that I've never met. I've never met these ladies, and I'm going to be traveling with them. I mean, I've spent years with them online, but I've never met them in person. So I'm going to Israel and meeting three of my sisters that I have gotten to know intimately online. So it's beautiful. But yeah, Russ and I talked, and we just, feel that I do want to give the ketamine another shot, but definitely don't want it before Israel so that it can't mess up my trip to Israel. So that's my intention. That's my plan. Yah willing, it's up to him. Everything will go well. And so that's where I'm at currently. I just kind of wanted to give everybody kind of a update of all of that. If you can pray for my friend Shell's dad. He has been dealing with some serious health issues and is in the hospital currently. I'd appreciate that. My friend Gina's mom, she's got some health stuff going on too. If you can pray for her. Um, let's see, my grandkids, they're all pretty healthy. Obi got bit by a meat bee and he has a histamine response like I do. And of course, that's part of my genetic disorder, which was passed on down to the grandkids, sadly, where he has, it's called mast cell activation syndrome, where our body floods things with too much histamine, and his little foot swole up and got blistered, and it was awful. But it's going down, so that's better. Grandkids are well. Son-in-law was ill for a day. He's better. My son and his wife, my daughter-in-law, Courtney, is starting a new business venture, which is super exciting. She's starting a baking, a weekend baker, and she's going to be baking, making and selling baked goods. And it's kind of fun because we talk a lot about it because back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, I had a business called Gourmet Gifts, Mountain Delights Gourmet Gifts, and I made gourmet gift items and shipped them all over the country. They were in Bed Bath and Beyond, and they were actually in the gift shop in the World Trade Center, sadly, on 9/11 when the World Trade Center went down. Um, but yeah, I had a business. I employed more people than anyone else in our community. I had like 35 people working for me at one point in time. So it's fun to collaborate with my daughter-in-law, Courtney. And my daughter has been the biggest blessing over the past couple of weeks. She is coming and helping me take care of business, taking care of a lot of my dad's paperwork and business that just became very overwhelming for me. And projects that I'm physically a bit challenged. Well, she came over last Monday when I was still kind of sick and in pain. The pain was beginning, and she made me lay on the bed as I instructed her where to put things, and we're getting the kids' room organized. And once the kids' room is set up and organized, then we're going to work on the guest room and get it set up and organized. And so she's helping me do things that uh, I'm a little old and not physically strong enough to take care of, and that have been really overwhelming for me. I have a lot of projects that I have not been able to get to, that she's helping me with. So she's actually coming over tomorrow again, which is always a blessing because when she comes to like clean, she cleans my house. I pay her to clean my house. Done that for years. And she brings the grandkids, so I get to spend the day with the grandkids while she cleans my house, and we get to spend time together and such. So that's the week coming up. I've got one day in Fresno for a doctor's appointment and errands. The rest of the week I'm home. We're going to be taking care of projects, getting stuff done here. And that's it. So I think that's all caught up. Anyway, thank you all for those that of you who've prayed for me. And thank you for those of you that have prayed for those that I've asked for prayer for. Um, uh, Shell's dad and Gina's mom. And I know I'm forgetting about, so I don't know. I know there's people that need prayer, but Holy Spirit, is there anyone else that I need to remember? strength and stamina, wisdom for my beloved husband. He's just on Friday turned 66 years old, and he is the hardest working man I know. He still works full time, and he's a mechanic and a truck driver, and he is a beast. He's the strongest man I know, and he works really hard and he's really strong. And I pray all the time for protection because he does things like he changes semi truck tires by himself. He has a helper that helps sometimes, but not always. And that's a very strenuous, dangerous job, actually, in breaking those tires down and putting them back on. Um, and so I always pray for protection, covering, wisdom, and health, strength, stamina for my beloved husband. So if you can join me in that, I'd appreciate that too. And thank you. And I would love to know where you're listening from, what's going on in your life, and how I can pray for you and bless you. So let me know in the comments or connect with me and let me know because I'd really love to pray for you and be a blessing in your life and know more about you. So I love you all. Have a wonderful week, and Yah willing, I will update next week if there's anything to update. All right. Be blessed.